Thanks for following along with my blues guitar, blues scale, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I guess we better do step 5. I'm going to make this one kind of short, like me. It's just adding some bends. It's very simple. It's an important phrase though. It's something like, and then I have a second kind of answer to that question. Whoa, cool. Very simple, right? But, that's what I say is a lot of this stuff is musically simple, yet to execute it with your hands is difficult. So that's why guitar is so frustrating. It's not your fault, but stay with it and we'll get you there. So this is based on the E blues scale. I'm going to start with my ring finger, 4th string, 14th fret, which is an E note, which is really important to know. Which we'll probably review that, or you can find a lot of old videos I made about finding E notes. It's something that it's like my work is never done, okay? So you just got to know your E notes. So that if you want to play rock and roll. So here's your E, 14th fret, 4th string. Gonna start that. That's a root note. And then I'm gonna go over to this G on the 3rd string, 12th fret. Which is pretty heavy, man. Sounds cool. Then an A. A is 3rd string, 14th fret. So that's pretty basic as far as a shape. So I'm going slow. It's Saturday. I got no gig. I'm just going to take my time here. So 3 notes. You can also slide into that 14 if you want a little dramatic rip into it. So I'm going to get into a bend there in a second. So that's that 14 is E, 12 on the 3rd string is G, 14 on the G string is A. Then we're going to bend that A. No, I'm going to go back to G. Then bend the A. All right, I wrote this out, so I should know this. That's where it gets tricky, the bends. You have to really control it. You can't let the note kind of flop. You have to, once you start the bend, you have to bring it home to some sort of a resolution, which might just be stopping it and getting away from it without making a, boinging the string. Boing the string. Don't go. Careful. So you also don't want to make any sound on the 4th and 5th strings because you're pushing the 3rd string up into it. So my pointer finger is laying over the top, not like that, but it's just sort of in that position, and it's just barely extending over to make sure those strings don't vibrate or make a bonk sound or a boing. Okay, there was a good example of a boing. Middle and ring are kind of fused like a paddle here. Middle and ring, and you're on your tip. You're hitting it with the tip of your ring finger, but you're reinforcing it with your middle finger, so you got double power. And pointer finger's just there to knock out the 4th string mainly. So it's kind of a reaction or a, muscle memory thing. I mean, I don't have to think about it very hard to do that. Then you can kind of do the woo, 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 up and down, which you can practice slow. Try to make I visualize waves, and I want consistent waves. Don't make it go crazy. Here's crazy. All right, which that's what my students usually sound like when they first bend. So don't be shocked if it sounds pretty bad. Stay with it and you'll get that consistency. It's kind of, I also will compare it to like a opera lady who sings a note and then she introduces a little warble and more warble, and as she's sustaining the note, the warble gets bigger, which we've all heard that annoying church lady or opera lady with the big voice, or guys. It's not just ladies, but somebody who's a very accomplished vocalist. We're kind of mimicking that quality. So I'll try to mimic that. Ended up sounding kind of scrapey. You could hear the frets going, you know, it was, I think that was the fourth string kind of sawing on the fret there. So if I had more sustain or more volume, it might ring longer. Always blame the equipment. So there was an example of a bend and then bringing in the vibrato a little quicker. Maybe that works better for today. So there was like a bend, introducing a slow vibrato, then speeding up. So you can practice different speeds of how far it shakes and or how fast. So like I'll try to do a fast one. That's about as fast as I can, you know, do it. But you know, anything faster than that is probably sounds an extra annoying. So I'm in no rush. I'm kind of lazy. Middle tempo, whatever. So yeah, work on, you know, if you want to introduce the vibrato. That's actually pretty cool to work on. But you also want to make sure you're bending in tune. You don't want to be, here's too far, and here's not far enough. And assuming we want a whole step, it can be any note you want. If you want to be a little flat, it sounds kind of moody. So just a tiny bend is cool. As long as you're aware of it. That's about a half step or something, or a quarter step, I don't know. And here's about a 3/4 step. So a lot of transcriptions you'll read it and you assume it was a full step, but really they're just only hitting 3/4. They're not quite getting to pitch. It's like, who cares if you're a little flat? Not the end of the world, unless you're playing something that has to be precisely in tune. So it just depends on the song and you know, the gig. So remember, a whole step is like 2 frets. It should sound like an A, should sound like a B. Should. There's like a half step, like a B flat. A little more like the blues scale. That failed. Weak. Okay. That was an experiment. So work on that, and then you can add like this. Check this out. Hey, that's cheating with the whammy bar, but I'm just laying my first finger flat on the first and second strings. Pointer finger flat. Very important. That suggests that kind of stuff. But you can also do this which we'll get to that next note, but that is a bend at the 14th fret of the 3rd string, just like we were just doing. Then you got those two notes ring out really nice. That's a B and an E. So you just want to get that in your muscle memory and do this until you got them down. Internalized is what I say. Internalize that. Let's get a little racket off of these strings here, but you might mute them with your right hand, these strings. Still hearing a little noise out of that D string, but in rock and roll, remember you're going to have drums, bass, cymbals, keyboards, people talking, elderly people shifting around in their wheelchairs. In my case, that's my audience. But that's cool. I like them people. They come up, they may be 88 years old, but they're like, we love rock and roll. I'm like, cool. That's my crowd. But so anyway, that's important. Then you can add this. And you can kind of just be a little messy with this. You can just, that's something I was going to say early on, you can just mix and match this any way you want. Just make your own thing. When you hear all kinds of guitar players play this scale, this pattern, and they just kind of, it's nothing, it's not like it's Beethoven or something. It's just bluesy rock and roll, kind of filler stuff. It's not like, heard some Rory Gallagher the other day on the radio. Like, he was doing the same stuff. Pete Townsend, all them guys, all the rock and rollers are going to play the E blues scale. So that last bend was 2nd string, 15th fret. That's a D. I'm bending it up to an E. This note, you should be very in tune. If you're sharp on, well, let's try it flat. It sounds like swing and a miss, You want so you can get those, different speeds with your vibrato, or maybe less vibrato. Or very subtle, just barely wavering, or really, that's extreme church lady, right? Or opera lady. It's like, hey, lady, can you turn that off? How about just a straight note? Try it. That would be still cool, but when you do the vibrato, it kind of makes the note sustain a little longer. I don't know why humans have to do it. I don't know what it does for helping the song, but it's common. So it sort of pumps the note along. As far as vocalists, I just think it's kind of weird that everybody tries to emulate that kind of shaky shake voice thing. I mean, maybe because I can't do it. That's why I'm against it. Funny. All right, so I've got this kind of sketched out in Guitar Pro. It's very minimal, but really we're not playing very many notes today with this lesson. We're not playing the whole neck. We're just one little corner of the guitar. Once you get up on that 12, 15 stuff, remember what we did. Oops. I already forgot. Make sure you got that pattern down. Today I'm playing through a rat pedal. I got my Ibanez delay, playing through the reverb, and then the 55 champ I got the other day, which I made a kind of an obnoxious video about sneaking an amp into your house. Top secret. That was creepy though, so I unshared that one or made it unlisted. If you want to see that video, just let me know. I'll send you the link. You can email me at hooverguitar@yahoo.com. Also, if you want this simple tablature for this video that I was kind of looking at, I was just basically improvising the whole thing, but I did have a little thing written out. If you need that, let me know. You can get Guitar Pro software. It costs a little bit of money. You pay it once a year. I don't know, $80 or something. But I can send you the file, and then you can press play, and you can hear it. You can slow it down, speed it up, modify it, add your own notes, write your own things. Or they have like libraries of stuff. I got millions of things I've written out. I'll gladly share anything I have with you. And it's really good. Like when I was writing this thing out today, I actually knew on the second measure there's going to be a quarter note, 3/8 notes, and I'll need a dotted quarter note. And I just like, here you go, boom. I just wrote that without having to think about it, and the timing was correct, which for me is a miracle. All right, so it's Saturday. Happy day here. No gig tonight. Rainy. I love it. Very cool. So just wanted to follow through with that E blues scale and just kind of do a long, relaxed demonstration and jabber a little bit. So I hope this wasn't too boring, but I think it's important that if you like rock and roll, you got to know these moves. So I was trying to be thorough and take my time and make sure that I don't move too fast. All right. Thanks.